China memorializes May 12, 2008, as Americans do 9/11. This memorial stands as a reminder of the magnitude 8 earthquake that struck Sichuan Province a little more than a year ago. The bridge memorial is somewhat of a tourist attraction for foreign aid groups. I revisited the earthquake zone with Tian Jun of the Chengdu Urban Rivers Association on August 5, 2009. Dr. Zhang Yan of the Department of Environmental Science and Engineering at Sichuan University translated.
So the village we will visit next, called Chaping Village.
Chaping Village is typical of many small peasant farm villages located about an hour's drive north of Chengdu in the mountainous terrain outside the city of Pingzhou. The people of Chaping Village have a close relationship with their river and are in regular contact with it. They wash their clothing in the river, eat fish from it, bathe in it, and draw their drinking water from it. Homes and businesses with running water and flush toilets discharge sewage directly to the river. The capacity of the river to accept the sewage has historically been sufficient, at least enough to be tolerated by the villagers and downstream users. But that all changed with the earthquake of May 12, 2008.
This village is located at Dujiangyan City. The village was nearly totally damaged during the earthquake, but now all the buildings are newly constructed, but all the environmental facilities are completely missing.
The earthquake destroyed most of the crude rural homes of the peasant farmers, who typically lived in dispersed single-family homes on less arable hillside land, apart from their crops below, and for the most part without flush toilets. The Chinese government built temporary housing for the displaced villagers, rows of blue-roofed, tin-walled apartments to shelter the villagers from the cold, wet winter ahead of them. Communal toilets were built for the villagers' use, and in some cases temporary sewage treatment systems were installed, but in most villages the human waste just drains directly to the nearest receiving stream, as it does in Chaping Village. The Chinese government promised each of the village families a payment in 2 or 3 years to help them rebuild their homes. But in the present economic environment, with the strong incentives of rural residents to move to China's special economic zones, the government's promise has had an effect perhaps not anticipated by central planners. The peasant farmers are selling out.
So the village committee built this housing community for 34 villagers. So their place for building their house land was organized and managed by village committee altogether and contracted to a company. So that's how it works.
The mountains outside of Pingzhou are desirable vacation and recreational areas. In some cases, wealthy investors have persuaded village farmers to let them build 1 or 2 larger, modern buildings on the original home site to be divided between the farming family and the investor. In other cases, the village farmers sell out entirely and the investor replaces the old home with a new, modern structure. The expected government payouts only sweeten the pot for the village farmers and investors alike. In extreme but not uncommon situations, the villagers combine their residential lots and sell out to development companies who build vast multi-unit housing projects. The original villagers may be relocated in other multi-unit projects elsewhere in the village, or they may just move to more urban areas to find work. The end result will easily be a tenfold or more increase in population and population density in Chaping Village. And with all that new development, sewage will be managed as before. Brick or concrete block septic tanks are being built alongside the new residential structures. The septic tanks allow solids to settle and liquids to overflow to pipes that discharge directly to the river. There appears to be no effort or incentive to take advantage of this development activity to protect the river in Choping Village. Clearly, the tragedy of the commons is playing out. Where one or more discharges to the river may not have been significant, everyone's contribution of 1 or 2 or 10 or 50 new discharges will be noticed. The capacity of the river to accept sewage will be exceeded. The ecosystem of the river will collapse. This tragedy is being repeated throughout the earthquake-stricken region of Sichuan Province. Do they own their farmland anymore? Do they still farm?
Depends on whether they still have their farmland left.